Lucy, I'm so excited to have you here. I've been following along in the beautiful work you've been doing on education and the ecosystem with Women X Crypto. And I am just so inspired by, your background and the things that you've been doing working in the startup ecosystem within the Bay Area. So everything from going from the traditional world of like Yahoo all the way to Castle, and then now the multiple different clients you're working with through your freelance marketing and growth marketing. So thank you so much for being here. I'd love if you could share where are you calling in from and what are you focused on?
Yeah, totally. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to chat with you. I am actually calling in from South Lake Tahoe, which is a small town in the mountains in California. We just moved here 4 months ago, bought a house, decided we're going to leave San Francisco and try something new. So I'm here and excited to chat with you about anything and everything, business, crypto, work. Love what you're doing as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. I love to start with the question around, what got you involved in this space, right? Like you've gone from this traditional world and then all of a sudden you start educating and building this presence, I think primarily on Instagram with Women in Crypto. What sparked that as a project for yourself?
Yeah, happy to chat about that. And the more or the longer I am in the space and the more I talk to other women, I feel like we all have a similar story, which is like we were curious about the crypto space, but then we got frustrated because there were only men in the space, right? And like I was so sick of seeing like all the men and their Lambos and like flashing like dollar signs on all the YouTube videos. And I really wanted to learn more about crypto. Learn about crypto, watch the videos. There was no other person out there, or there were no other females out there. And like because of that, and because I was so frustrated with that, I was like, oh, you know what? I learned so much in the last 2 years. I've had so many mistakes. If I can help one person, I'll be so happy. So that's why I started Women in Crypto, because I really wanted to help other women get into the space.
How did you first hear about crypto? Like who told you about it? Who got you involved? And then as you talked about some of those mistakes, like what were some of the first steps you were taking that you learned, oh my gosh, okay, this is how you do it. This isn't how you do it.
It's actually a funny story. A friend took me to the office opening of Coinbase. And I had no idea. I mean, I know like some friends invested in Bitcoin, but I wasn't really into it. But I really liked the office opening. And then I kind of looked into the careers page and like the website. And I was like, you know what? They actually pay in Bitcoin. That's pretty cool. So I think there is actually something behind that. So that's really how I got into it. And then obviously my first investment was Bitcoin. And then the mistakes, there were plenty of them. Obviously, when there was this big hype, I think with crypto 2 years ago, and everyone was investing into meme coins, and I had friends like, yeah, you put $1,000 here and you're going to make a lot of money. And I just didn't do my own research. I just like, oh yeah, that sounds great. Let's make a quick buck, right? And like, that is what I'm trying to teach now. Like, buy into solid projects, right? Like do your own research. You're not going to get rich quick, right? Obviously you can get incredibly lucky, and I'm hoping that for everyone, but I just kind of changed my approach to like investing slowly and like investing into solid projects.
I really love that. I think it's something we've all learned the hard way. It's very enticing. You hear this thing, people are talking about something. 99.9% of the times that I've done something because other people were doing it, not just in investing, but life, it was like the wrong thing to be doing, but it's always so enticing. And to your point, like, it's not just about like not doing your own research. It's also that like, you don't know when to exit the position, right? Like if you don't know why you got into it, then investing isn't just putting the money in, it's also knowing when you take it out. And unfortunately, I think that's where this becomes really like dangerous, to not know the fundamentals, to not know the information yourself of why you're making a decision. Then you really get stuck in it.
Yeah. And I love that you're mentioning like taking money out. I feel like no one is talking about profit taking, and I feel like it's such an important topic. Like I'm so happy you are mentioning that.
Yeah, it's difficult. And like if you haven't done your own research and you don't know why and what you should be looking for, you can't do that. So what role are you playing now in this space? So are you still doing growth marketing, and how are you seeing the growth of this community that you've been nurturing for the last few years?
Yeah, love to talk about that. I've been always like doing this like on the side a little bit, but like I became a mom and I was staying home, and like the more I thought about it, the more I wanted this to become my full-time job, because I'm so passionate about it. Like when I like sometimes when I, and you probably feel that too, when you get a comment and someone tells you, "Oh my God, I did my first investment. Thank you so much for helping me." Like I realized there's nothing more rewarding than that, and that really gives me like the energy and the passion to do more and actually dive in deeper. I didn't have that much time last year because I became a mom, and like, you know, all that great things of becoming a mom. But now my son is in daycare, I can really go in like full time with women in crypto. And as you mentioned in the beginning, yesterday or like 2 days ago, I opened up Women in Crypto. I created a community or like a group chat for like all the women, for all of us to chat. And I wanted to do it like for so long, but because I didn't have time, I didn't do it. So now I'm kicking it off with a community. Like I want to do courses, I want to do classes. I really want to get as many women as I can into crypto. And you asked about the growth in general, right? I feel like, and you probably saw that too, like the last year and like with the explosion of Web3. And I know it's a little bit of a buzzword right now, but I'm seeing like more and more women entering the space, and this really makes me so happy. And it's also so inspiring that you have so many female educators now and so many female like influencers who are openly talking about the space and like trying to educate and get more women in. And like if I can play a small role in that, like this is amazing. I'm happy.
It's so true. There has been such a growth from like when I first started, and there was like one or two, maybe like Shifi, Maggie, and then another one, Investera.
Yeah.
Those were the only ones I could find. And we were also, building. And then to see the a number of creators. And I think it's so important because just like we all have different friends and different communities and different tribes, like it would be strange if there were only a few educators. Like we want different voices. We want to learn from
Yes.
who we feel connected to. And that's why I love the idea of these micro communities that are forming that are specific. I get the question a lot of actually like how to get started in setting up a community. And I'm curious, since you're in the early days of setting that up, how did you make some of those decisions, right? Like moving from Instagram, and then I think you're using Geneva Chat, but there's a ton of them, right?
Yes.
There's like Mighty
Yeah,
Networks,
totally.
Circle, there's Telegram, there's Discord. How did you decide
Mhm.
of like what infrastructure you wanted to use to support your community?
Yeah, totally. Just real quick, big shout out to Maggie and what she's doing with GFI. I actually joined her last cohort, cohort 8, just because I love learning and I just love joining different communities. And I love how open the space is because, they accepted me even though I'm doing something very similar to what she is doing. So yeah, I love that. How I started a community, or like I kind of put my feelers out, like I think like half a year ago, I just like did like a poll, like, hey, would you guys be interested into a group chat? And like most of the people responded with yes. So I was like, okay, so maybe there is something. And then I also get a lot of questions like how to get started, or like just some random questions about hardware wallets, or like some MetaMask questions. So I always thought like, hey, if I could just, I think more people would like to hear the answer, right? And obviously you can then put that into a story. But I felt like that was not enough. So I think 2 months ago, I actually did a poll again on like what platform would you guys prefer? And I honestly thought I put in like Facebook groups, Telegram, and Discord. And I honestly thought that most people will say yes to Facebook groups, but actually no person said yes to Facebook groups. And I thought like more people will like that because like out of convenience, right? We are already in Instagram. I was happy that not too many people said yes to Discord. I think Discord is amazing, but I find it incredibly confusing. And then like two of my followers actually recommended Geneva. So I looked it up and I love the interface. It was super simple. It's for me, it's like it has Telegram's functionality, but like in a prettier way, kind of. So I decided to go ahead with Geneva. And I've been kind of like engaging with my community since I knew like what platform I will use. I started to advertise the community pretty much. And one thing I thought was really cool is what I did is like the first 50 members that will join my community will become founding members of the community. So I wanted to make it more enticing for the first people to join. And then as a founding member, when we do NFTs, when we launch merch, like they're gonna be like, they will have like voting rights, almost like a DAO, but not really. So yeah,
I love that
I
so
think
much.
that
Yeah.
helped a little bit.
We've actually done an interview with the head of community at Geneva too, because it's like it ends up being this small world.
Yeah.
And I love too that they're starting to build so much functionality on even like NFT gating and different things. So they really are innovating pretty rapidly. And there's just like so many choices. I love that you actually always have polled your community to get their insight of what they want. How did you ultimately decide on Instagram as your platform to even get started?
I think I didn't want to do LinkedIn because I didn't feel like comfortable about putting myself out there on LinkedIn. And then obviously there was Twitter. But I kind of wanted the reason why I know why I picked Instagram is because I wanted to reach the people who are not your typical crypto people, right? Like everyone on crypto sits on Twitter, right? Everyone sits in like Discord groups, but I wanted to reach the women who are on Instagram, right? Who like normal women, normal moms, and like who are kind of interested in the space, but who are not confident enough to get into the space. So I felt like Instagram is like, everyone is on Instagram. So yeah, let's try to find some women who are interested in crypto on Instagram.
I love that. And what do you think has been the most exciting thing that you've learned in this process of either learning about crypto or even learning about how to teach about crypto?
Yeah, I think what was really exciting is that actually I know more than I thought I do. And I think women do that in general, right? We always feel like imposters, but like the more I put out there and the more feedback I got, the more confident I felt about the whole idea of teaching women about crypto. So I think that is in general big learning. Another big learning is, right, like sometimes you put yourself out there and no one responds to it, right? And that's okay too, right? Like I think don't give up, like keep on going. If like for me, like I really believe in my idea. And even though at times like you feel like your growth is slow, you just keep going, right? And like one day it will like hopefully blow up. But like, you kind of like keep going because you believe so much into your dream and your passion.
I love that so much. That is such good wisdom that most success is an accumulation of multiple steps, just taking small steps forward. And a number of the creators that we've worked with and engaged with have talked about how sometimes they'll repost the same post multiple times, but sort of like try it in a different angle or a different tone. And then one of them will just hit, but nothing changed except for the way that they presented the same information. And I loved that because it says exactly what you're talking about. It's that sometimes it's not personal if like maybe the first thing you post or the thing that you post didn't get engagement, maybe just the way or your own energy when you filmed it, or it's not easy to put yourself out there. I mean, it's something I've had to from day one, just being like, I don't want to be a content creator. And I also like moved to LA at the same time that this all happened. I'm like, of course I would move to LA and all of a sudden I become a content creator. This is so embarrassing. But it's at the same time, it's like that's the mission. It's like, how do you share knowledge? It's like you have to use your voice. And you're so right that a lot of women, especially, will have hesitancy to even share their voice because of the imposter syndrome. But we also see that in investing. It's this, oh, I need to have all the knowledge. I need to know all the things before I get started, and not recognizing the small steps you can take to just get started, and the fact that like no one has full information. That's actually why there is returns in investing, is because there's risk in not knowing certain information and the risk reward trade-off of still pursuing an idea even though it's not 100% guaranteed.
Yeah. It's so funny you mentioning you didn't want to be a content creator, because I went through the same. Actually, my first year of Women in Crypto, I didn't show my face at all. Because I was like, I kind of wanted to teach it, but I didn't want people to know me, or like I didn't want to put myself out there. And then the moment I put myself out there, it just changed the game, which was great. I should have done it way earlier, obviously.
Yeah.
Right? The same with the community. I was so afraid to launch my community. And I just got on the last 2 days, I just got such an amazing response to it. I feel like so energized and motivated. And again, shouldn't have done it way earlier, right? Why are we always so scared to do like try new things? It's just unbelievable.
I know. I think that's good for us to even share this because it's easy to like that look, you're like multiple thousands of followers, similar to my LinkedIn, but that all started with like nothing, and even every day I still get like resistance of like posting on TikTok or doing anything because I agree, like it feels very personal. It's also tiring. It's like, you don't want to put your makeup on. And I've loved, I'm curious, like what's worked for you, of like how you motivate yourself to post and put your, like for me, I have a girlfriend who started an account that was called like Gross Girls. And she has a totally different company, but she just started posting things that are like true in her life. And it's like the gross chaos that was ensuing in her apartment, like how she didn't do the dishes. I just love that because it was like something that's really authentic that people can relate to, that doesn't take any effort and isn't you like Instagram's so composed. It's like you need to like look a certain way and like have your makeup done, your hair's done. But like TikTok is a free for all and you can sort of show all the like ins and outs of your life. But that could also just be too personal for people. And like, especially when you're trying to share something that requires trust and information, there's just different approaches. So I'm curious, like what's been working for you to keep up the motivation to post and to get over that insecurity or being like, oh, I don't want to do it, or I don't want to put myself out there.
Yeah. So I think how I get over my insecurity is really like deep inside. I know I have to do it because otherwise I will not have any success. And like I keep pushing it until like I kind of like get some confidence and like just click on the send publish now button. It's really like it is. And like I have a very also like you have a fan. My husband is super supportive. He's like really pushing me. He's like, more women need to be in the space. And like he always like, how's it going? Did you do that? Did you do this? And like he doesn't let me like give up on it, which is really a big motivator for me. And I also did a bunch of like courses and classes. So last year I did a program from Boss Babes called Influencer School, which I really loved.